All right. So, we're done with the driving section. Well, for the most part.
Why are we driving?
Fucking liar.
Once you get past this wall, there's no fighting. There are no enemies. You just drive down the hallway until you get to your destination. I do like this area. It's very scenic. They even managed to make the arbitrary rock border that separates the land from the water that you can't drive into look kind of organic and nice and pleasant. And they have a thunderstorm in the background. Yeah, that's very nice.
If I saw the horizon looking like that in an ocean, I'd be shitting my pants.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure why they have a thunderstorm in the distance, because that never comes up. It's just a background element.
Just something that happens, yeah.
It's foreshadowing.
You had mentioned how this place doesn't really look all that intimidating, so they probably, like, it's a little bit odd having such a big story point not being in this kind of tropical environment. They probably added the thunderstorm to make it look more ominous. That was pretty
Bad
much...
stuff is going to go down. It's foreshadowing.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, except that storm never comes. It's just off at sea. Anyway, this is Captain Kirahi. He's a cool guy.
When does he die?
That depends on you, actually. He could still be alive. Okay, here's the thing. He could still be alive in Mass Effect 3. If he is, he will help you out during a specific mission. And if he's alive but another character isn't, he will help you out in another mission later on and get killed. But
That blows.
But if that other person is alive, then Kirahi just sort of continues to exist as a war asset to build your numbers up. He also introduces a really cool gun in Mass Effect 3. He gets his own cutscene to introduce this weapon and everything. They were proud of that gun, the developers were. It's the handgun that shoots electrical sticky bombs. It's one of my favorite weapons in the game too. It deserved its own introduction cutscene.
I don't think so. Our people are dying.
Now here's the dilemma, and this is the reason Wrex might die here. Saren is claiming that he is researching a cure for the genophage. He's not. He's actually just cloning Krogan. But Wrex here, despite his mercenary occupation and his grumpy dialogue that suggests he's given up on his people, hasn't really given up on his people. He's just super fucking frustrated with them. So when he's confronted with an opportunity to possibly help them, his loyalty to Shepard is shaken. Now, to get him out of this without killing him, you need to either have a really high persuasion stat, or you need to have done the mission I did earlier and gotten his grandfather's armor back. This is no sweat since I did that mission, but, you know, just be warned, if you go to Virmire early, well, I hope you don't like Wrex that much.
Just do it carefully. I'll be careful.
It's actually kind of strange how much content you could feasibly miss in this game without, like how much content you can miss in this game without really knowing about it. I mean, I guess that ups the replay value significantly, but,
Well, it's also very easy to find all of the content, though. Because you just go to each system in turn, and if there's a mission in that system, you'll go to there'll be a planet you can land on. There's like one in almost every system in the game, so it's like a checklist. You scan every planet, you get all the MacGuffins, you go down to the planet, you comb it for icons that you can mine for stuff, and you go to the one building that people are occupying, kill people.
Well, I'm more mean in the, if you do stuff in a certain order, you could potentially lock yourself, like here. If you do Virmire before you do Wrex's quest, you can miss his quest entirely. Is more what I'm talking about.
Only if he dies. He'll still ask for it later.
Oh, okay. But you'd have to have your max persuasion score by this point.
You'd have to have a high persuasion score. I'm not sure if it's maxed. It might be maxed. If you've done 2 plot missions, it should be possible to max it. But if you haven't done that, well, yeah. It's gonna be a thing. You see, I didn't even have to select the nice blue dialogue option here. I was just able to put my gun down and talk to him because he trusts me that much. There's a similar situation in Mass Effect 3 where, depending on how you've treated a character, it's whichever one of the human characters survives Virmire. depending on what you've done, like while they're in the hospital, if you got them a nice gift, if you've been selecting nice dialogue options, and if you did or said certain things in previous games as well, or hell, if you romance them in Mass Effect 1 and then romance someone else in Mass Effect 2, that's gonna hurt your chances. And if you've done enough for them, you can convince them to trust you in a pinch when you both got your guns out and pointed at each other without having to persuade them. If you haven't, you might still have to persuade them.
Can you romance someone, break up with them amicably, and then romance someone else?
Sure.
Yeah, but it's still a straining element. Like, okay, there's a 2-year gap between 1 and 2 where your characters are, where your characters go off and do their own thing while they think you're dead. So whatever romantic things happened, you have an excuse to say, okay, I'm moving on with my life. You've probably moved on with yours, and it's not going to be a pleasant conversation, but it's not quite as underhanded as, you know, saying I still love you and everything, but then going off and doing something with someone else. Although that does lead to some hilarious dialogue in Mass Effect 3 if you try to cheat on Liara, because she's the fucking info broker at that point, and, well, she knows.
She knows everything.
Uh,
But I had a very similar situation where, in Mass Effect 1, I romanced Liara, and then in Mass Effect 2, I romanced Tali, and then, the first conversation I have with Liara on the Normandy, she asks us, so, do you still want to have a relationship? Are we still doing something? And I go, nah, I think I've moved on. It's been a long time. I'm not really sure I know you anymore. And she's like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's all it was, so.
Now, here's just the slightly awkward thing about that, though. At the start of Mass Effect 3, like, every fucking character needs confirmation that you're still interested in them. I think Liara needs it, like, 3 fucking times. I don't know if that was them making her deliberately insecure, or just being ungraceful with the writing, because you need to say you're still interested, and then you need to say you're still interested. There's a conversation to say that you're still interested if you romanced her in previous games, and then there's a conversation later on in the game where if you didn't romance her, you have the choice to romance her now, but if you're already romancing her, it's just another confirmation question, and it's like, Jesus.
Relationships, man!
The Normandy's picking me up. How will your team?
She's over 100 years old and she doesn't know how to have a boyfriend or girlfriend. Anyway, yeah, now that we've dealt with Wrex's temper tantrum, we need to arrange a mission to attack this base. And it's actually fairly more coordinated than most of the stuff Commander Shepard does, because most of the stuff Commander Shepard does is, I'm going to get 2 of my homies here. We're going to go in guns blazing, we're going to blow shit up, and we're going to win.
Yeah.
Ready, homie? Word.
It's like the only other time in this series that I can think of, where your team is coordinating with other teams to attack a specific location is the final mission of Mass Effect 2 and the final mission of Mass Effect 3, where you're trying to... in Mass Effect 2, you have to actually assign your own party members to separate teams, and in Mass Effect 3, you're working with Earth's military to take it back. But everything else is like your elite group of 3 badasses just face-rolling through all the opposition the galaxy can throw at you.
And God forbid we bring 4 badasses, because we need half the team on the ship to...
Well, at that point, the ship just dead.
Well, that's just kind of a gameplay thing, really, and partially.
A lot of RPGs do that. It's just like, okay, why do we need everybody on the blackjack?
Partially, it's a limit imposed by gamepad controls, because when you're playing a PC RPG that uses parties, your upper party limit is probably something like 6. But when you're playing it on a game that was designed with consoles in mind, it's 3 or 4. Because that's easier to manage. If you had to click through everyone with a gamepad controller, you'd be like, it would be a convoluted mess. Hell, even with 4 party members, Dragon Age Origins was a convoluted mess at times on consoles, because they had to scale down the way certain things controlled.
Was that game made with consoles in mind first, too?
No, it wasn't. It was made for the PC. It uses the Baldur's Gate style point-and-click interface, and they experimented for the console version with a new system to translate that kind of gameplay to a console, which is something that nothing, as far as I know, nothing except Final Fantasy 12 had really experimented with before. Dragon Age Origins did better than Final Fantasy 12 at that. But they also had to scale down some of the stuff the PC version did. It wasn't until Dragon Age 2 and 3 that they unified the control scheme in a way that allowed the same level of tactical depth on all platforms, but Dragon Age 2's PC version suffered badly for that, and even Inquisition's PC interface isn't quite as smooth as Origins. So, well. Anyway, planning happened. Now we get to pick out our party members and actually go do the thing. There's a side quest along the way here where you can help Kirahi's team by finding and disabling certain Geth capabilities along this route. So there are several different pathways that you can go apart from the direction that you're supposed to be going. This is actually one of the more open areas in the game. And if you go through the checklist and disable everything, then Kirahi's team will have like no problems whatsoever, and they'll even survive if you leave them behind, I think. Whether you leave them behind or not, you'll have a choice at the end of this mission to either prioritize saving Kirahi's team and the person who went with them, or protecting a bomb and the person who you assigned to take care of the bomb. That is the choice that results in either Kaiden or Ashley being sacrificed for the good of the mission. You don't have an opportunity to do both because the place is about to blow sky high and you have time exactly to go in one direction and save one group. So this is how it played out when I played the game the first time. I assigned Ashley to go with Kirahi's team because it seemed like sending the soldier with the other soldiers was a good idea. Add some brute force to the Solarians and their espionage tactics. And then I had Kaiden guard the bomb that we were blowing the base up with. Then I was hit with the choice. I could either try to save as many people as I could, or I could go protect the bomb and possibly rescue the guy I was romancing at the time. It was not a happy decision for my shepherd because she was full Paragon at the time, like not even a hint of renegade. So her mind would be like, "Oh God, I can't leave the Solarians behind. I got to get them out of here." And so I went to the anti-aircraft tower. Oh God. Oh my God, I love the lift spell so much.
Oh shit. I was in the middle of drinking something. Fuck.
Oh man. The biotics don't get quite as hilarious in the latter
I
two
thought we
games.
gave them all parachutes. Apparently not. It wasn't even so much the animation, it was just the bland thunk.
Anyway, this is the first item on the list for helping Kirahi. You go to this tower, you disable Geth communications, screws up their coordination, so Kirahi can divide and conquer more effectively.
And it gave you 2 Paragon points.
Every time you do this, you hear over the radio Kirahi's team and what's happening with them. So, if you ignore them, they're going to take some casualties. If you help them out, most of them, including Kirahi himself, will survive even if you leave them behind at the end of the mission. But if you rescue them at the end of the mission, they'll also be on your ship temporarily after the mission, so you can talk to them there. And they'll thank you, and they'll congratulate you and all of that stuff. It make you feel very, very noble for sacrificing the guy you were making them. You were putting the moves on like half an hour before that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I played this, I felt like dog shit for a couple hours after I finished Vermeer. It was not a fun feeling.
Well, you could reload your save state. I mean, I know I don't do that either in these kinds of games. I don't play many WRPGs, but Devil Survivor, which is an SMT game. In that game, on my first playthrough, I actually didn't get anybody killed, but I did do something that got someone kicked off of my party for the rest of the game. And I thought about reloading my save file, but decided not to.
Here's the thing. I saved right before making the choice, but after making the choice to send Ashley with Kirahi. So it was either, you know, ignore my sense of roleplay and save the one that I wanted, or you know, stick to my guns and do what my character would do. And as an RPG player, I always do what my character would do. I decide what character I'm playing at the start of the game, and I do what that character would do, even if it's not necessarily the smartest gameplay decision.
The feeling of ruggedness that you experience, would you say that's a sign of good storytelling in Mass Effect, or just because of your preference?
Well, in my case, I think it was partly because I made a choice the developers might not have expected. But yeah, it did feel like a very meaningful story turn for my character specifically, and I would call that good storytelling. I
always love those moments in BioWare games. I think Dragon Age, the third one, definitely improved a lot of those choices and stuff, because there weren't just right and wrong answers. There was always this moment where it was just like, well, this has benefits and this has benefits. Oh god, I don't know what to do.
One of the earliest things you have to do in Dragon Age Inquisition is decide which faction to side with, the Templars or the Mages. And since you're playing as a different character from your previous one, you could import a save file where Hawk sided with the Mages, but still be playing an Inquisitor that sides with the Templars. So you not only have an interesting combination of an interesting choice within the game itself, but also an interesting choice that could potentially contrast to your previous character's actions in a nice way. So that's a nice thing to do. And
there's this one quest with Iron Bull where he's a Kunari, and we're trying to get the help of the Kunari to join our war. And we have this big skirmish where we're trying to get their fleet in, and we're using Iron Bull's mercenary group in order to distract the enemy. But then they get caught by the enemy, and we have a choice of either sacrificing Iron Bull's group or sacrificing the Kunari fleet, who we're going to lose for the war. So you kind of have to give up Iron Bull's friends in order to get the favor of the Kunari and stuff like that. It's moments like that I find more impactful than just a simple, oh, this is a good thing to do, this is an evil thing to do. So
yeah, it's also not like Iron Bull is the only one you care about in that case. You also get some development for his mercenary group and the individuals there. This is another item you gotta. This is actually a bit tricky. You gotta look up for a satellite uplink on the roof and shoot that. So yeah, that's 2 items off the list.
So when did things go foobar?
Well, after we go into the base.
Okay.
I mentioned the list of things that you need to find in order to reach the final planet in this game. The second beacon to complete the information, the cipher and all of that. This is the planet where you find the second beacon, because it turns out Saren has one in storage, because he found it first and downloaded the information before you did. You know what's great? When enemies fall through railing and get stuck underneath the railing and you have to kill them that way, it just takes you right out of it.
Because of the spazzing.
Well, and the fact that they can't get out because they keep bumping their head on the railing.
Well, they can't get out. Like, physically, it would be the simplest thing to either hide underneath the railing so that you can't be shot, or climb out so that you can fight properly. But they will never, ever, ever, ever do that. Even if they're stuck under chest-high railing, they'll just sort of stand there and flail around and try to move and shoot at you from under there. It's the most
super smart robots, my ass.
Yeah. All right. I got a nice new I haven't used Wrex much during this playthrough, but I figured I'd use him here since Vermeer is a bit of a story significant place for him. In fact, you'll notice my party here is occupied by both the character who almost died and the character who's going to die. It's a cheerful group. Wrex is just like walking along beside Kai, and he's like, ha 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 ha! Ah, you unlucky bastard! I get to survive this mission. You don't.
How do you know that, Wrex? I played the future games.
Jeez, Wrex, you're an asshole.
I know that because I'm being played by the DM. Ha ha! Oh, jeez.
I hate it when the DM plays their own character. They're always way better than everyone else. Fudges his own dice rolls.
Have you ever seen The Gamers, Darkness Rising?
I don't think I have. No.
Okay, it's about a Dungeons and Dragons group. It's a comedy. It's an indie comedy, so it's a real cheese fest of intentionally bad editing and stuff. Where the DM is getting his party to play through an adventure he's creating as a product for the game store that they work at, and he plays a paladin so that he can keep the group in order. So that he can keep them from doing evil things. The rules-lawyering power gamer of the group constantly finds ways to get around this by like getting the most persuasive character in the group to trick the paladin into thinking there's something going on outside while they torture a bad guy for information.
Wow.
It's a fun movie. You can watch it on YouTube if you want, and it's actually part of a 3-movie set.
Huh.
Darkness Rising is a good one to start with, though. I haven't watched the first one yet. It's really fun. It's a really funny movie. Like the power gamer is this really gung ho dude bro type guy, and his ex-girlfriend joins the gaming group, and the first thing he does is criticize her character because she made a spear fighter with like high intelligence, improved initiative, all that kind of stuff that a brute force fighter wouldn't pick. And the first battle, she dominates because she's got like this ability that gets her extra attacks and everything. It's all pretty fun. And then like the monk that the power gamer is playing gets like one enemy.
Still better than none.
Oh, man.
You keep telling yourself that.
Okay, here we are. The Vermeer base. I don't know why there are so many goddamn catwalks outside this base, because they don't seem to serve much of a function.
It looks
but,
nice.
Yeah.
So you can shoot off them.
Oh, I think I just blew up my own shields there.
Oops.
Oh, hi.
I thought you were a Wrex.
Yeah, I'm in a personally kind of risky position because I've got a sniper off in the distance. I've got like 3 fucking Krogan at medium range, and my shields are low. My health is half damaged. Oh,
Thank God for
jeez.
this cover.
Well, yeah, but it's cover that's initially caught in a pincer attack between several different enemies. So you got to take down at least one of them, get behind the cover, and it's a hectic situation, and it's situations like this that are the chief reason that I stick to this constantly pausing and telling my party members to do things style. Because if you can do that, then no matter how many enemies are around you, you can pause, target a specific one, and say, Wrex, use your throw skill on this guy, and all the ones around him. And you'll get yourself out of so many sticky situations that way, it's not even funny.